the Beyond Ball. It's your host, Jacob and your co-host, Gabe Caraway. The computer is fixed. Finally. We got the computer charger right here. It's fixed. It's fully fine. Sorry for that wait, guys. I definitely hated it. I couldn't do schoolwork for 2 weeks on my computer. So, small grade bump in that, but we'll move. We're just going to jump straight into this week as we're going into Thanksgiving. So I hope everyone has a happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving. And I feel bad for y'all's family because I know y'all's moms immediately is going to put up Christmas trees right when Thanksgiving ends. My mom's doing it on Saturday, so I know how it is.
Yeah.
We're going to jump straight into NBA here.
Ours was up 2 weeks ago, I think.
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed with that one.
Crazy.
Mom, it's just, man, I can't even go back. I can't even go Black Friday day shopping. I need some new clothes. It's getting rough. But we're gonna jump straight in here with some.
That's risky, man. That's risky.
Hey,
in Hammond? You going to Hammond?
We're probably either going to Hammond or Ponchatoula, Hammond or New Orleans. We might go to Hattiesburg.
That's when you see the people that you didn't want to see from high school. That's what I hate going about shopping, man. I had that happen.
Very true. I believe that one. Yeah, we're gonna jump straight in NBA here. You know, we do the hate hoop credit. I'm gonna rant for a second.
Okay.
I've been sentenced to Pelicans duty. Let's put it that way. I don't know what to say here. Pelicans have been the second worst team in the league. Thank you, Gabe. It's been bad. There's a few bright spots on our teams. Elfrid Payton on Sunday dropped 21 assists. Had me crying tears of joy at work. Don't know how that happened. Our team's slowly coming back. We got CJ back last night. We got Trey back last night. But really, other than that, Abraham Ingram's still out. DeJounte Murray's out. Zion's out. Herb Jones out. Jose Alvarado out. That's four of our starting five right there. I mean, I don't really know what to say. We suck. Let me just give y'all some stats, some little updated stats right now. We're 29th in points per game with 104.1. The only one that is worse than us is the 76ers because we're tied with them. We're 26 in field goal percentage. All we're better at is the Hornets, the 76ers, and the Blazers. Nice. Assists, you got 20. We're 21st. Turnovers, we're middle of the pack. 3-point percentage, we're 23rd. We don't shoot enough 3-pointers. Even though I hate to say it, but that's the way the league's rolling right now. We have to follow it, and we haven't done it. I mean, the Celtics is generating their offense of 52% of 3-pointers. That's how they run their offense. I mean, it is what it is.
You don't got their shooters, though.
Yeah, they got some shooters. They can stroke that thing, if you know what I mean. Then just keep on going. I mean, it's been bad. Been very, very bad. We lost to the Pacers on Sunday, and then we lost to the Warriors on Friday, both by 4 points, which isn't bad losses considering who we're playing and considering who we're playing as a team. Like Robinson Earl, I think his name is Jonathan. Yeah, Jeremiah Robinson Earl is getting 20-ish minutes per game so far. Brandon Boston played 34 minutes versus the Warriors. Daniel Tice is also getting minutes. Trey Jamison, a two-way player, is getting minutes right now. Very bad. Elfrid Payton, we picked him up on Monday. We picked him up on Friday. He plays on Friday. If that's right. No, sorry. We picked him up on Wednesday. He played on Wednesday. Now that's dedication to the game. But there's a few bright spots going into it. Like I said, we're slowly getting people back. Jose Alvarado should be back next week. Herb Jones should be slowly coming back. Jonte Murray's going to be out for a little bit longer. Brandon Ingram's going to be back next game. The only one I really worry about is Zion. He had his left hamstring strain. Is it the thing that he's been dealing with for a while? And reports saying it's not looking good, which sucks. It does suck because he played so good last year as a player, as a team. And I really had high hopes going into this year since he signed his contract. He really wanted to stay in New Orleans. But yeah. Gabe, you have anything to say for the Bucks besides they just suck?
We're doing better. We won 6 of the last 7 or 5 of the last 6. I can't remember. It hasn't been great competition, but I mean, go look at the Cavs schedule when they were undefeated. They played a bunch of losers, and no one seemed to talk about it. So
Played Pelicans twice.
I don't really want to hear it. Gary Trent knows how to shoot again. I didn't actually think that was going to happen. Actually, pretty surprising. Chris Middleton, at this point, is just an assistant coach. He might return next week from what I saw. But, we can't really guarantee with his bum knees. He'll probably be out there on crutches if he does return. I think we play tonight. I can't remember. I believe we play the Heat tonight, or it could be tomorrow. I think it's a NBA Cup game. Ooh, so important. The courts aren't ugly at all. The jerseys aren't ugly at all, of course. And I have to watch the Heat jerseys, which say Heat culture on them. And I think they're red.
I hate those jerseys so much. I hate
maybe the worst ever.
I'm gonna just. I hate the courts. Some of the courts so much this year. I was watching the Miami Heat game the other day, and I see their stupid sayings in the far end zone by the basket about Heat culture, and it makes me just want to off myself. That was banging on my door. I didn't know stop.
This is always
keep on going. You keep on going.
Let's see. Where was I? Yes, we play tonight. We're doing better though as a team. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, Bucks are playing a little bit better. We'll see how it goes though. Early in the season, so don't want to crown anybody yet. I will go into my hate hoops. I do have a little bit here. It's very simple. It's the Wizards, just the team, the whole team. They're 3 games away from no-win November. They currently are 2-13. There's not much else to say. They're just bad. We are the last game they play in November, so I'm a little bit worried. That would be a game we lose, and I probably would never hear the end of it. So we'll see. I hope they go no-win November. That'd be funny. They need to blow it up at the deadline or now. I do think Jordan Poole's playing better this year, from what I remember, from what I'm seeing.
He's playing really good this year.
And you got guys like Bilal Coulibaly, who's also contributing this season. But all those old vets they got, it's time. Brogdon, Valanciunas, those are trade targets, man. You need to get rid of those people. No reason to hold on to them. And I'll go into my hoop credit because it's also very short. Franz Wagner, actually very surprising this year. Stepping up. Magic obviously are 3 seed or 4 seed in the East. East is bad. Not a whole lot to say there. But
yeah,
without Paolo Banchero, I think many of us thought they were going to fall off. He's keeping them afloat. He's shooting the ball well. He's shooting 35% from 3, which is pretty good for him. I can't remember what he shot last year, but it was bad. And 47% from the field this year. Almost 2 steals a game, which is kind of surprising. 23 points per game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Really carrying the Magic when Paolo went out. I'm excited to watch the Magic, man. I think they'll finish top 3 seed for sure in the East. I think they'll be right below the Cavs. I think the Celtics will take over at some point, especially with KP coming back last night, I believe.
Yeah. So for my hate hoops, I actually also went the team. Different route. I went with 76ers. Okay, so yes, Joel Embiid and I know PG guys need hurt, and Joel Embiid's playing every other game. But there was a solid stretch in November where Jakob Poeltl was playing better than Joel Embiid. That's bad. That's very, 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 very bad. There also was really going to complete no-win November, but they played the Brooklyn Nets, who are honestly they're not bad. They're not bad this year, but I mean, they're Brooklyn Nets, so just take it out as you will. They have one win. The last team they beaten was Charlotte on when was it? On November 10th. So they had 2 wins in November, and it was a finals overtime win. But there's one bright spot of the 76ers, and thank gosh, bro, I love this man. I love watching this guy. It's Jared McCain. I mean, if you turn on a single thing of some sort of news on ESPN, on Sports Center, on First Take, even if you just watch TikTok or Reels every now and then, you hear this guy's name at least 40 times in like a solid hour session. I mean, dropped 30 points 3 days ago versus Brooklyn. Dropped 34 with 10 assists on November 13th versus Cleveland. He went from like a 3.5 point game stretch where he's just dropping single digit to a shot up with 18, 17, 23, 34, 29, 20, 20, 20, 30, 18. He's not my hoop credit. I just want to point that one out. Paul George sucks. Paul George hyperextended his knee again. Bone bruised his knee again. Same knee that he was out with before. This year, when he was only playing, he was only averaging 15 points, 5-ish assists, and 5 rebounds. I mean, yeah, he was giving you 2.3 steals per game, which was second in all the league, only behind Dice Daniels. But he was also 23rd in turnovers as a small forward. I mean, make that make sense. I really can't tell you myself. And of course, when you think of the 76ers, you think of Joel Embiid and his dominance over the past few years. And a lot of there's really bad things that's going on with Joel Embiid, flopping and all that. Yeah, he had good games. He had a 35 point game, 11 rebound game versus the Memphis Grizzlies a few weeks ago. But he also shot 47% from field as a center. I mean, but even then, 11, 8, 20 and 8, 13 and 3. Yeah, I think this guy was a very dominant center, very MVP center. First center to win MVP. Him and Jokic been going battling at for 1 and 2 the whole entire past few years, and now, I mean, I'll give him a little bit of credit. I hate the way he plays his game. He plays like he's a 6-foot guard when he's 7'1" center. I mean,
Giannis has always been better.
I'll give you that one. Well, Giannis is not a center; he's a power forward.
Yeah, but he's still giving you more rebounds.
Oh, sure.
This season.
True. Well, of course, this season, yeah. This season, Joel Embiid's only averaging 20 points, 7.5 assists, rebounds, 4 assists on 37.9% from the field goal, from the field.
And he's never available.
Yeah. He's shooting 8 attempts per game. I'll give him, he's shooting 100% free throw line, but he's shooting 8 attempts a game. That pisses me off, bro. Gosh, I hate how he plays. But yeah, I hate the 76ers.
Yeah, he
hate everything about the 76ers. Eric Gordon used to drop 30 on your favorite team. Now he's dropping Tony Snell type numbers. Caleb Martin getting 41 minutes, 40-ish minutes a game. Putting that one out.
Ew.
Yeah. He did 41 versus Memphis. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, sorry, 32 minutes per game. Wrong numbers. Kyle Lowry.
That was crazy, actually.
Giving you 24.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's not looking good. It is not looking good. Tyrese Maxey just came back from injury, and he played really good versus Brooklyn. 26 points, 4 rebounds. But he's very inconsistent with his play. Very inconsistent with his shooting, mainly. And hopefully it all looks up at the end. Because I really do enjoy watching Tyrese Maxey. play. I like how he plays this game. But
his like open shot percentage is really bad.
Yeah, that's
it's really bad this season.
I mean, he's not doing terrible this year when he has played. Like 32 points versus Phoenix, 23 versus Memphis, 32 versus Detroit. I mean, 45 versus Indiana. Putting that one out. But ultimately, with the 76ers, you need your full team, healthy, and honestly just good at this point. I mean, they have not looked good at all. And so that's why I hate y'all. Now, to give some credit to, I've been going back and forth. Do I want a role player that's been really good this year and somewhat of a surprise and also torched the Pelicans? And I was thinking, yeah, because I watched this man play. Man, shout out Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome was injured all of last year, if I'm not mistaken. Craig Porter was the backup point guard when Ty Jerome went down. And Craig Porter, of course, and Ty Jerome's, oh my gosh, he's so good. I would give it to the whole the Cleveland team, but I mean, I gotta give it to somebody, and I just want to do Ty Jerome. Just versus the Pelicans alone, which was 5 days ago. He dropped 29 points, 3 rebounds on 7 field goals, 7 3-points made. I thought he was Stephen Curry. I ain't gonna lie, I was scared for my life. And then versus the Raptors last night, 26 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, a block on 4 for 8 for 3, 9 for 14 for the field. Dude's been a dog all year. And of course, I do want to shout out. I cannot shout out this man. For my final one, I'll do one. Cam Thomas. Cam Michael Porter Jr. Thomas. 24.7 points, which is 16th in the league. He has 3.4 assists. That dude does not pass the ball. But he doesn't get paid to pass the ball. That's what Dennis Schroeder is for. And the Nets, where I thought they were going to be the worst team in the league, I'm not going to lie with you. At least in the running for it. They're 8 for 10. They're 8-10 right now. They're on a 2-game win streak. They play the Suns tomorrow night, or tonight for y'all, at 8 p.m. And so, but yeah, they beat the Warriors a few nights ago. Curry dropped 28. This one, Cam Thomas dropped 23. Schroeder dropped 31 in this game. Gee, Schroeder's been doing good too. But shout out Cam Thomas. I love that he doesn't pass the ball. This dude knows he's a bucket, and we just have to accept it. And then we're just gonna move on here to college football. So shout out NBA. NBA's been a lot of fun this year to watch, unless you're a Pelicans fan. I've been wanting to hate myself and all that. But go straight into college football here. Of course, you got the Player of the Week, and man, this was a great week of college football. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of great upsets because we're gonna talk about it in a few minutes. A lot of great players. Performances this year. And I think the ultimate one you had to choose was running back. This team has looked really bad at times this year, but looked pretty good these past few weeks. And mainly behind their running back, Kansas running back Devin Neal. When they played Colorado, I thought for sure I knew Colorado was upset alert, but I didn't know it was going to be that bad. But Devin Neal had 37 carries, 207 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 receptions for 80 yards and a touchdown. I watched a little bit of that game as I was going between that game and I want to say the BYU game, I think at the time. I think that sounds right. And they were it was beautiful. It was amazing to watch. And ultimately, it just kept on going. So shout out Devin Neal. Shout out Jalen Daniels, of course. Shout out the whole entire Kansas team. They turned it around. They turned into just more, like upsets team that they're played just to upset at this point. They're played to have fun. And so I'll let you do your player of the week first, as I've been talking.
All right, I will start. I'll start from the bottom of my list. Switch it up. Got Adrian Maddox of UAB against Rice this past weekend. He had 5 solo tackles, 2 pass deflections, also had a forced fumble, and obviously the reason you chose the guy for me was a 99-yard pick six, which is crazy. It's probably one of the longest on the season so far. I'll go to my other. Oh yeah, man, dang! I had 3 defensive players this week. That's actually pretty rare. We'll go to Sean Dolak of Buffalo, who's actually been having a very good year. He's one of the better linebackers in the country. I'm not sure where he ranks tackle wise. I think he was high up for a while last time I looked. But against Eastern Michigan this past weekend, had 4 solo tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and also got a sack. And then he had 2 interceptions, and one of them was a 60-yard pick six. And the other defensive player I have from Texas San Antonio, Jamori Robinson, who had 6 solo tackles, 5.5 TFLs, and 4 sacks, playing Temple. And finally, I will move into my 2 offensive players. First, Charlotte's Omega Blake. Crazy first name, not gonna lie. 5 catches for 205 yards and 3 touchdowns against Florida Atlantic. And then Cam Scatabo, I think I said it right, I don't know, of Arizona State, playing against BYU. Had 28 carries, 147 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then also got 3 catches for 12 yards. But obviously the rushing yards are what we were looking at. He's been having a great year. One of the better running backs in the country.
Yeah. Gabe, let me paint you a picture. So there's this young man that, decides to place a parlay. Just just wants some money. Needs some gas money for the weekend. And he plays on 4 teams to win. Well, all 3 games hit besides his last one. And it's because of one particular person. His name's Todd Brooks at Texas Tech versus Oklahoma State. He had 28 carries, 133 yards, but had 3 touchdowns, 9 receptions, 65 yards, and a touchdown. And had Jacob crying in tears. Which kid was me, by the way. And then, yeah, I was sad. Very, very sad. And then go out to the ACC, to Duke with Eli Pancol versus Virginia Tech. 5 receptions, 188 yards, and 3 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns came off of Link Murphy bomb, where he threw the double birds up to the camera. That was funny. Highly recommend go watch that one. And then a little quarterback action going on here. He's been very inconsistent all year, but he has some revenge going out for UConn. It's Syracuse quarterback Colin McCord, 37-47, 470 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then 6 carries for a yard and a touchdown. And then, I have my list. There. And then we have Miami quarterback Mashal Powell. They played Wake Forest. He had 3 tackles, 1 interception that went back for a touchdown, 1 sack, and 1 TFL. And I didn't do it last week because there was no good contenders for it. But for this week, there was. And we're bringing back the kickers, baby. Iowa kicker Drew Stevens is the second time on my list. Played Maryland, 5 for 5 for field goals, 2 for 2 for extra points, and a long of 54. Dude had me absolute jump up for joy when I saw it. He hit 2 from 50 plus, 1 from between 40 and 49, and then 2 between 20 and 29. Had me so excited because I, of course, left a kicker off the list last week. But unfortunately, we got him back, so we're all good. And then, I think this was a great week for players. There's some people that missed the cut, such as Oklahoma State running back Ollie Gordon came back to life, 15 carries, 156 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Pat Bryant had been inconsistent but really good this year. 7 receptions, 197 yards, and a touchdown. And then, of course, Jaquez Hunter, absolute dominated Texas A&M with, as I am, 28 carries, 133 yards, and 3 touchdowns as well for the upset over Texas A&M. And which that's where I'm actually going to start off here. And we'll just go up the list. Is Auburn upsets Texas A&M in a 4 overtime thriller. So I do have a little confession to make. I fell asleep before this game ended. I was laying on my bed, my little beanbag chair, had the game on, and at 8:30 p.m. I passed out. And I wake up at 1:43 in the morning to my phone and a notification saying cinema from Gabe. First of all, that's the first text, cinema. And then over right under the ESPN thing saying Auburn upsets Texas A&M in 4 overtime. And I'm sitting there mad that I missed an absolute cinema of a game after Auburn blew them out in the first half. Like, it wasn't even close. It was 21-7 going into halftime. And then Texas A&M decided to play football for once. You have anything to add on it while we have it? Since, of course, I'm not giving that much.
Yeah. I think, we mentioned Jarquez Hunter, but also Peyton Thorne had a really good game, which is kind of rare. Kind of rare. It was senior day, so, you got to show up. A&M was down 21-0. So they did fight back into it. They weren't able to pull it off. Kind of a heartbreaking drop there for Amari Daniels in the 4th overtime. And they didn't get the 2-point conversion. It was good play design too. I believe they had a running back take the snap, I believe, and then give it back to Reed, who rolled out and then hit Amari Daniels, but he dropped it. It sucks. Happens. He probably got stomped by the Auburn fans. Kind of worried for the guy. Reed was out there not really looking that good passing the ball, which is kind of what we know him to be. Put it together in the second half, though, and I think that was probably his best passing game he's had in a while. And then the Auburn defense with 4 sacks and 7 TFLs. I would also like to shout them out. And then I guess I will take us back to the top game, question mark, on our notes.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, which will be pretty brief. I'm not going to lie. The OSU-Indiana game was not what we were hoping. Obviously, I had to make the Indiana pick because I have to make up ground. Kind of like this week where I just pick the other team so I can get back in the pick 'em. Not a whole lot of justification. That's literally it. But Indiana, I believed. I believed. I fell for it. I fell for their head coach. I fell for Rourke, and I thought they were legit. I thought they were. It sucks to see that, and especially how they started this game. Went up 7. Had a pretty good drive, stopped OSU on their first drive. But, man, after that first quarter, they did not do anything on offense till the 4th quarter of this game when it was, Chris Paul hits a big 3 to cut the lead to 42. The game was over. Didn't really matter what they did at that point. They only had 151 total yards. Obviously, as I said, this game did not help my questions I had about Rourke or Indiana. But the O-line was not helping at all. Like, geez, that was like tight end bad. Titans bad. Just like MPF, dude. Just that's what it looked like. 5 MPFs out there. OSU was sending the blitz all the dang game. For Ohio State, I'm not too much to say here. Will Howard's still on fraud watch. Obviously, when you have the most expensive roster and all those weapons, he's also lost them some games. Looking at you, Oregon. And Ryan Day, I still don't believe in. Sorry. Especially in big games. I really don't care. If he can't take probably the most expensive roster in the country and the transfer class that they had, they have to at least make the 3rd round of the playoffs, I would think, or it's going to be a disappointment. And OSU could, I think, look in a different direction when you account for Ryan Day's past in big games. Now they'll beat Michigan this year because Michigan's completely terrible and has no hope. So he'll finally beat Michigan. Yip-de-doo. I think that might be his first or second win over Michigan. Obviously, that's the standard for the OSU coaching. You got to beat Michigan. That's the game. But they'll do it this year because Michigan's going to hand it off 42 times and run for 20 yards. Bryce Underwood's really looking forward to that, I guess. I don't know. $12 million is crazy. I would have a Michigan hate segment, but them in themselves are a Michigan hate segment, just when you look at them. And I'll just wrap it up there with that.
I'm just gonna take us to this next game. I've been waiting to say this all week. I hate Ole Miss, and it finally has came through for me. They've got whooped on every aspect of the game this past weekend versus Florida. Jackson Dart, I'm gonna start with you. Oh my gosh. 2 interceptions in the final 2 drives, right? If I'm not mistaken. I mean, okay. I will give them a little bit of a calm down here. They don't have a running game. Their top 2, 3 running backs are out. They're relying off a wide receiver to run the ball, a walk-on running back, and a tight end. I will give them a little bit of grace, but that's all I'm going to give them because they still suck, and I still hate them. Jackson Dart, 14 carries, 71 yards. I'll give you that, but here's where you should make your money. Jackson Dart has a great arm, just really crappy decision making. 24 for 41, 323 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I mean, that's it's inexcusable. As a quarterback, I thought really highly going on into this year, and really did not mind as an LSU fan. Gosh, he sucks. He's awful. Worst quarterback I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, he's bad.
Get a LinkedIn. Future XFL MVP from what Gabe said. Honestly, I'm gonna do
San Antonio Dreadnoughts.
One step lower. That's a CFL player if I've ever heard one. Trey Harris learned transfer portal, buddy. I think that's best.
Is he back?
He is back. He had 1 reception, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Kobe Precorn, which is their tight end. Get ready to learn fatherhood and early retirement, as he does have a child. See him all on TikTok all the time. Just get ready to be a full-time dad at that point, and be completely honest with you. What y'all's defense was really not that bad. But just transfer to the Florida offense here. DJ Lagway. All right. I hate on you a lot because you're on Florida team. You were pretty good. You're pretty good. You've been pretty good the past few weeks. You torched LSU. Give you that. But this game, I think this is really where he showed why he was a 5-star. Yes, he still makes those freshman mistakes. But ultimately, you have to look past him as he is a freshman. But he played really good, really, really, really good this game. Really efficient. Montrell Johnson had a good day with 18 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. And then the backup, Jaden Bew, I think is his name, 13 carries, 46 yards, and a touchdown, which is still really good. They had a run game going, which is something Ole Miss just could not get started, and that ultimately did lose them the game because now they just Ole Miss did just sat back in coverage and just sat there and was happy. I mean, if you're Ole Miss, you're going into a very hostile, very, very hostile place in Florida, and you cannot take it lightly. Just took it lightly. I mean, Florida is coming off they whooped LSU at all aspects of the game. They've whooped LSU. They made me cry. That I sat there and shed tears of sadness. I mean, you took it lightly. You got burned. At least now you get to go play Mississippi State as a reward. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And the Egg Bowl. I would not be watching that. By the way, just point that one out.
Nope.
It's on a Friday. I still won't be watching it. Don't care. And I'll let you take over.
Yeah, well, I will repeat your move and take us into the next game that we got here, which we did kind of mention earlier, but we will circle back to it. I think that we should. I have just a couple things to add. The Kansas-Colorado game, kind of been waiting to talk about this one too. Just to have the 3 wins that Kansas does over the past 3 weeks is very impressive for the team that looked like they had really no hope. Very disappointing this season. I think the expectations we all had for them, especially for Jalen Daniels, I think many of us probably expected to be, top 10 quarterback probably this year in the country. But to come out the past 3 weeks and really just play a different brand of football, I think focusing in on Devin Neal, who, probably was your second best player before the season. Now he's clearly your best option, I think. It was just a legacy game for him. The rush defense for Colorado has really never been a strength of theirs. Not totally surprised that this happened. But this was a whole new level, I think, of just like, we're going to run the ball. And you really cannot do anything because Devin Neal's better than anyone you have. So that's kind of what this game was. I mean, it was 40-19 in time of possession advantage for Kansas. There was really no resistance by Colorado to really stop it. For Colorado, Sanders and Hunter were doing their thing, obviously. This is not really surprising. The defense folded, also maybe not surprising, especially on the rush defense side. But one thing particular is just one play. The low hit on Shador as he was rolling out. I don't know how they picked up that flag. That was kind of ridiculous. That guy probably shouldn't have been playing the rest of that game. He probably should have been taken out.
That hurt I remember watching that. I grabbed on my knee. I'm like, oh my gosh, that would hurt me.
If his foot was on the ground, his leg would have probably snapped. I would say he would have been cooked. Done for several months of recovery. And then last thing, this is not related to the game, but I want to look because we're both fans of kind of, teams that our seasons are over in the NFL, their seasons are over. It's time to look for some draft stuff. Now, neither of our teams are going to draft a running back, but the running back draft class is going to be insane. I mean, I'm just going to read you the names here. We know Genty. We know Devin Neal. Dylan Sampson. You also have Jordan James, Rashard Smith of SMU, Khalil Mullings, who's better than Donovan Edwards up in Michigan. You also have Caleb Jackson, your guy. Travion Henderson and Judkins could both declare. Devin Neal already mentioned. Singleton you also have. Jaquindon Jackson of Arkansas is very underrated. Taj Brooks, you learned, is very underrated. And then you have guys who really were at the top of this before the season and have fallen off. Ollie Gordon and Donovan Edwards, who I think they still have talent. I don't think that's a question. We know it's there. We've seen it in the past. I think if they get to the next level, sleeper candidate, somebody picks them up in a later round to bounce them back in the NFL. But yeah, Kansas beat Colorado and Devin Neal's him. That's all I got.
Yeah. And I think we should continue to join here. And I've been really excited to talk about this game. It's the Arizona State versus BYU game. This game I got really excited to watch, and it was kind of I knew BYU was going to win this game. I knew Arizona State was going to win this game. BYU's been on fraud watch for a while. I do want to shout out Hay McDowell. He's a former Delt that's been watching our podcast for a while. He did call BYU folding like that. He called Indiana. He called Colorado. He put me to shame. I'll give him that. I still think Indiana's a great team. Personally, they went had to go into Ohio State, and it's really hard to win in that type of conditions. But I mean, still, I'll give them that. But this is the game I was really excited for because I started to really enjoy watching Arizona State. Mainly Cam Scotabo, as he's been so good this year for them. Just read off his stats for the year so far. He's 10th in rushing, second in rushing yards per game, and obviously number one is going to be GNT in that one. He had 16 touchdowns, all off of 22.6 carries per game. So he's really been the backbone of their offense. With the only one people in front of them is Todd Brooks at 1, Ashton DT, Marquise Cooper, Bryson Daly, and Amarian Hampton. So it's just a little read off there. But what really has surprised me is Sam Leavitt, their quarterback. He's really been a great game manager for them. 18 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. About 215 passing yards per game. He's 69th in passing yards total. But I mean, when you get to hand the ball off to what your running back is, I would gladly take all NIL money to do that. Just snap, bang. For BYU, it's been the same problem all year. You don't have a run game, especially one to keep up with ASU. Who has all the one to keep up with Kansas. They kept up with Arkansas State, but Arkansas State didn't really use their run game either. And you're going against Houston, who equally has a really good run game as well. It's not as good as other teams, but they use their running back more than anything, and just BYU doesn't. LJ Martin is their leading rusher, 519 yards, and for 7 touchdowns. That's about 74.9 yards per game. In this day and age of college football, you need a running back that's going to give you 90 to 100 yards per game, probably a touchdown, half a touchdown, or either not a touchdown or a touchdown every single game, just to give you some sort of leverage in the passing game. And Jake Reslaf, I mean, he's a gunslinger. 22 for 38, 297 yard touchdown, and 2 interceptions, which one interception coming in on the Hail Mary very at the end, which I do want to go ahead and point that one out. So at the end of the game, of the ASU BYU game, ASU had a commanding lead, so they took 2 sacks, and they kneeled the ball, and on the 4th down, they just heaved the ball up as high as they could, and ended going out of bounds on the 1-yard line. Well, the stupid party people over there in Arizona State decided to go rush the field. So it took 15 minutes just to get the fans off of it. And I'm sitting there like this the whole entire time watching it because I had ASU on my parlay. And this is before Oklahoma State played. Oklahoma State lost. So I was sitting there. I'm like, please just win. Please. I just want to get this over with. And so it was a great game to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I got my heart breaking after that, but I don't really want to talk about that. And I'll let you go on from there.
Yeah, I just mentioned you covered it well, so I'm going to mention the Big 12 is kind of kind of a disaster right now.
Yeah.
If you look at, there's a 4-way tie, a conference record. You got the Sun Devils are at 6-2. BYU's also at 6-2. Iowa State's at 6-2, and Colorado's also at 6-2 in the conference record. Now Colorado has one more loss outside of the conference, so they have 3 losses total. But this is an important week for games, really, in the Big 12 to see how it's going to shape out. I would probably predict that the Sun Devils are going to be in the championship. I don't see them losing to Arizona this week. BYU, I don't really see them losing to Houston, although that's possible. And then Iowa State's the one to watch. I think Iowa State, Kansas State this weekend, which we're going to talk about.
I agree.
But the Big 12 is kind of It's up for grabs right now. I want to jump to this game. I do. This is Jalen Milroe. This is Jalen Milroe. This is Jalen Milroe. This is Jalen Milroe. Don't let him look like Barry Sanders, and this is what's going to happen.
The Heisman pick was there.
It's really... No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. For like one game, maybe. The first carry he had this game, he thought he was going to be RB1. Obviously, that's what he wants to do. He runs up the middle. Danny Stutzman lights his ass up. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened on that play. And I don't even know what his rushing total was, but it was pretty much nothing.
Not good.
Obviously, he can't pass, so he had 3 picks in this game. I saw someone said that boy Milroe turns into Cam Newton against LSU every year and then turns into Daniel Jones every other game. It's like, honestly, that is so right.
I got a good comment.
Milroe probably realized he's ass. Yeah, that was a good one.
Good one.
I think the scary part for me is Milroe's going to realize, oh shit, I'm ass, and return next year, and then do the same thing next year against us. So that's what I'm actually worried about. We'll see. But in this game, he was terrible, absolutely horrible. Alabama was bad. They let Jackson Arnold run 25 times for 131. He's a quarterback. He's a white quarterback. And he's not John Mateer, so I don't want to hear any of that. You should not be letting Jackson Arnold do that. And then also their running back had 107 and 2 touchdowns himself. So, I mean, Oklahoma, I didn't think we were going to get any offense out of them. The way they've been looking this year. The defense stacked the box. Bama thought they were just going to run, obviously, for this win because their quarterback limits them to doing that most of the time. 3 turnovers. One of those is a pick 6. And then the first interception, OU returned it in the red zone. So, I mean, they were already down early in this game. It really was not that close at any point in this game. Kind of funny to watch, but I guess LSU also sucks, so you can only laugh so hard. That's all I got.
I do want to say a comment real quick on Jalen Milroe. To apply a job for McDonald's, you can either one. You got to visit the McDonald's career website, and you can find open positions for restaurants or corporate jobs near you, navigating to the restaurant jobs or corporate job pages. Use Olivia, the McDonald's virtual recruiting assistant. Olivia can help you search for a job, answer questions, and guide you through the application process. Some restaurants may schedule an interview for you if you qualify. Just text apply to 38000. So it's 38000. You can also use the McDonald's restaurant locator to find contact information for a specific McDonald's location. When preparing for an interview at McDonald's, you can research the company in the fast food industry, be honest when you answer questions, and be ready to discuss your experience working in a fast-paced environment. So pretty much that's what I'm saying. Get a job. Go put fries in the bag. Go. Hey, I want my quarter pounder back, please. Go get that stat. Honestly, there's some spicy nugs for $10. Give me that, and I like that, please. Just you suck. I hate you.
Ice cream.
I hate you. M&M and Flurry. Honestly, I'll take M&M and Oreo McFlurries at this point. Since you're making them. Gosh, I've been waiting to say that all week. Jalen Milroe has let me down once again after looking like Cam Newton. I mean, screw me. And just to wrap it off, I don't have much for the LSU. Like I said, I fell asleep, so I wasn't able to watch much LSU game as I was quite exhausted. We beat Vanderbilt a lot closer than it should have been, but I mean, Vanderbilt's a scrappy team. I'll give them credit. I really don't care. I like them. I'm not gonna hate too much because obviously I like Vanderbilt. Josh Williams had a day. Thank you. This is the running back that we thought Josh Williams was going to be and go into this year, and obviously he didn't start this year as like that. And Garrett Nussmeier is still a gunslinger, and I'm all for it.
Honestly, I don't got a whole lot either. Closer than it should have been is, that's probably the best thing to say about it. Not really much else. Just want to end the year strong. Hopefully beat Oklahoma. I'd be depressed if we didn't. but I wouldn't be surprised at the same time. Now it's time. It's time for the NFL. We're going to start it off. I don't know if you got one, but I want to get mine. Trash, you suck, NFL player of the week. You smell, you're bad, you're horrible.
Been waiting for this.
Anthony Richardson, 11 of 28, 172 yards.
He's a terrorist. He's
10 carries for 61 yards, but you're a running back, so we're not surprised. You stink, buddy. Retire.
I hate my life when every time I think they're going to be good, they suck. But I'm gonna have to do it. I hate to do this. My stinky no good player of the week is Justin Jefferson. Going into overtime, he had one catch for 7 yards. So now what I've learned watching the Vikings, either Justin Jefferson plays good or everybody else plays good.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's how it is.
I'll give Bear some credit. Jalen Johnson's a dog in its own right, and I love him to death, so I can't really say much about it. And also, Bears played really good this year, this week. Still fire Matt Eberflus. I hate him. And I'll go into the, I guess, the credit of the week. I gotta go Bryce Young. They lost this week, but Bryce Young, the stat sheets didn't show it. He put them in the position to win. On that final drive, he drove them down the field, and they ultimately scored touchdowns at the end and got the 2-point conversion to tie it. But ultimately, you're playing Patrick Mahomes, you're playing the Chiefs. It's just nothing you can do about it. You gave Mahomes about a minute left in the game. So, but still, I'm gonna give Bryce Young a lot of credit here. He drove down the field. He played with a lot more anticipation than he usually does. He plays with a lot of what's what I'm looking for here. A lot more confidence than we saw before the benching, and that I'm glad. I'm glad it's back. And I'm glad. I'm really do enjoy watching Bryce Young. I think NFL is better with a good Bryce Young. And so yeah, that's mine. Little credit of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get to a credit of the week. I actually forgot about that. But the Thursday night football game we can talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little bit on that, mostly going off the dome for most of these NFL games, if I'm being honest. For the rest of the episode, really, it's what I'm doing. This was AFC North football.
I love it.
This was AFC North football, right? The snow in the second half, that was great. The Browns should not have been in this game, but they were. Jameis was out there dealing. The snow, I can't say enough about how beautiful it was to watch. My eyes were hurting a little bit because it was kind of bright, but that's just what you take with a game like this. I haven't watched a snow game in a while in the NFL. Again, just the Steelers to lose this game, they just couldn't stop Myles Garrett. He was tearing them up in the first half. The offense looked bad. It was not very good. The run game couldn't really get going, which is what the Steelers have been wanting to do the past few weeks, really. And then you had the Browns somehow figured out a way to move the football with a not very good offense, I would say. Nick Chubb had a pretty good game, so that was good to see. He's not back, but he's playing better at least. And then Jameis, he was Jameis. It was good to see.
So this was great in my life. I thoroughly enjoyed every single second I had of this. Jameis Winston had me running through a building. Ain't gonna lie on this one. Had me run through a building. Had me ready to roll. I wish I was right next to him on this one. Because I would have went to war with Jameis. But as the Steelers, Steelers didn't play bad. The Browns didn't really play the best either. They just outplayed them up to the final drive. That's AFC North football to y'all. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed every single second of it. And we're just gonna move on here to oh my gosh, this game makes me angry. The Cowboys versus Commanders game. So I had paintball. We had a paintball event on Sunday, so I didn't get to watch a lot of this game. But what I did get to see is Cooper Rush torching a defense. Cooper Rush. I mean, I thought I'll never see. I thought I'll never. Break. I thought I'll never see the day. Dan Daniels is slowly losing grasp of Rookie of the Year. Slowly, but slowly. Terry McLaurin played good. Again, Brian Robinson Jr. went down early. Austin Eckler went down, and you're pretty much relying off Jerry McNichols and the legs of Jaden Daniels to win you this game, to get like some sort of ball movement going. And it's just they just couldn't get it done. I will apologize to Cooper Rush. I've been saying all week that Trey Lance should go in for him. It didn't happen. Obviously, I don't know. I just want to watch a fun football team for once. And yeah, that's all I got to say on it.
It was kind of a crazy ending to this game. To have it wasn't the same, but it was kind of a Hail Mary. I mean, you just kind of threw it up to Terry at the end, and ran it in for the touchdown.
I forgot about that.
But then Austin Cyberman missing the extra point.
He was so good this year.
You suck. It's over. Well, insanity runs over. And then obviously the kick return and the onside return, it just wasn't meant to be for the Commanders this week. The offense is really ugly at this point. It's very conservative. It's very they're not really. I don't know. They don't look the same as they were there earlier in the season. Which I know Cliff Kingsbury is known for kind of falling off as the season goes along. So, I mean, they got to get right game against us this week. So we'll see how they look. And then I'm just gonna wing it from here in this next game. There's not much to talk about. The Niners-Packers was a blowout. I thought it was going to be a better game. Purdy didn't play. I don't think you knew that when you made your pick, if we're being honest. I think that happened after. Josh Jacobs' legacy game, 3 touchdowns. Brandon Allen, not legacy game. No legacy was built or added on to with this game by him. Debo's mid. I mean, the injuries just keep piling up. Really, defensively, I haven't seen a lot from the past few weeks. And even offensively, when they were healthy, they've blown some games at the end. The Seahawks game comes to mind. The Cardinals game way earlier in the season comes to mind. I just can't trust the Niners right now. I don't really trust I'm not too high on the Packers. I've fallen off on the Packers. But obviously they, dominated this game. Wasn't really ever close.
Yeah, I'm not going to speak much on it. I'm scratching that one off myself. We're going to move on to Eagles-Rams game. Oh, this game was amazing. Saquon Barkley showing why that you need to pay running backs. I mean, I saw that coming. Saquon's been very elite for years now, even ever since that rough ACL injury that me and Gabe saw on TV that one day. And then flipped to Aaron Jones running at like an 86-yard touchdown against the Lions. And I was in devastated.
There was no one else on the screen. It was just him.
That
was funny.
I remember playing against Aaron Jones that day. I do remember that. But
I was crying. I had to take one.
I mean, as a Rams team, your offense played really good. Just you got legacy gamed, and they run off the momentum of the legacy game. Your defense isn't where it needs to be compared to your offense. like Jared Versey got penetration, but he got whooped by Jordan Mailata all game. Dude got bent over and took it. I mean,
He ran over in one play.
He did. That's the only good thing that he did, though. I mean, dude got pancaked, I think, 4 times in a row. It was bad. I generally felt bad for him. I mean, the Eagles have the best offensive line in the league. I think there's no really debate about it. If you have pretty much almost elite or almost elite in every single position of your offensive line, I think I can go out there and at least get 80 yards, and that's saying something, as I am a washed up offensive lineman. And so that's what I want to say. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp had a great game. Matt Stafford had a great game, but ultimately they were off momentum with Saquon Barkley going for 302 all-purpose yards, and the death to my fantasy team and a sadness to my face.
Yeah, I think just the better team won that game. Honestly, I mean that's kind of what it came down to, and it's the same as last night's game, or I guess for them 2 nights ago. The Ravens Chargers game, Ravens were down early, but I think we all kind of expected what happened to end up happening. Pulled away, and the game really wasn't close after a while. Towards the end of the game, and this is kind of, I think the Chargers were getting a lot of hype. But when you look at who they played, it wasn't impressive. The pass game was, I would say, middling. I mean, Herbert's been elite and has the best TD interception ratio, but it's not really been like a crazy yards offense or anything. And especially when their run game got stopped up like it did in this game, you didn't really see a whole lot out of them. And defensively, they just couldn't really stop the run at all, which is not what we had seen from them. Really, they've been a pretty good run defense and a good defense as a whole. I mean, against the Bengals, they got absolutely walloped in the pass game, but rushing wise, they played pretty well. This game, nope. Derrick Henry had his, Derrick Henry, and I think even Justice Hill contributed a little bit. Lamar doing his thing, and then the play action shots. For the Chargers, Quentin Johnston sucks. Dropped the ball like 3 or 4 times in a clutch situation. And this is kind of what we know Quentin Johnston to be. Actually, he's had a decent year. You got to give him that. I mean, better than last year, which isn't much, but he's had some touchdowns this year. This game was Quentin Johnston. This is who he is. And this is who the Chargers are. I think we're kind of fraudulent when you look at who they played, in my opinion. And I just think the better team was the Ravens, and the Ravens won. Pretty simple.
Yeah, I agree. Lamar Jackson is going to be your MVP. I think there's no really way around it if you like it or not. This is his MVP campaign is so much better than what it was last year's or 2 years ago. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I personally think it's on par of his 2021 MVP, 2020 MVP campaign. Whatever year that was. 2019, 2018. I don't know.
It was 19, I believe.
19, yeah. 2019 sounds right.
2020 was Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, it's true. Glad you remember that. I mean,
should have been Henry.
His passing stats are his best has been his all credit career. 27 passing touchdowns, just 3 interceptions. The people who obviously doing third less than him is the really big name is Justin Herbert. My fault with 1. But like people who threw more, Mason Rudolph has more. Mac Jones has tied him with 3. Trevor Lawrence is 6. Jesus Christ. Geno Smith has 12. Why do I start with my fantasy team? I'm sorry, guys. I mean, this is his best. I think this is personally his best year by far. He's leading the league in passing yards, leading in passing. His rating isn't as well, but I mean, his quarterback rating is 100. Is 117ish, so it's not bad. It's really good. He's 67th with completion percentage, which ranks him in like the top 15-ish range of completions. And so for after that Chiefs game and the Ravens game, no, Chiefs and the Raiders game, he really took a big step up. You can really blame a lot of
Steelers game was rough.
Yeah. You really blame a lot of the losses on your Justin Tucker on penalties. But you cannot blame
secondary. Yeah.
The only game you can really blame on Lamar Jackson is the Steelers game. And even the Chiefs game, because he did miss the throw versus Dave Flowers. But ultimately, that's the first week. You're just trying to run things out. I'll give him that. But yeah, I think this was a really crappy week of NFL. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Colts made me want to throw myself off a cliff after watching whatever that was. Josh Downs made me sit there in tears. But yeah, for the college, so I forgot to say the college football pick'em update. It is, I'm leaving 31-20. Gabe's second with 24-27. And around the NFL, it's not really updated. I don't know if it's updated or not. Gabe is, for going into the pickups for NFL, it's 117.60 for Gabe, 107.70 for me. This week was bad. I did not do good this week at all. And so let's do some college football picks. This is, for what the week is a lot of rivalry week. A lot of games are at stake. So we really do chose the games off. Games are at stake, or that's just can be a really good game. This first one being here is Memphis at Tulane. Memphis has been a really underrated team this past year. I'm trying to find the stats on them. Give me 1 second. As they play on Thursday, Jacob. There we go. They're 9-2, so they're tied with Tulane for record. They only lost to Navy, which Navy's been really good this year, and they did take a really bad loss versus UTSA. But ultimately they're in the top 25 with a lot of stats, offensive wise, and defensive wise. They're about, I give or take about top 40 defense. But Tulane is of something that after that Oklahoma game, they skyrocketed. I remember them losing Oklahoma badly, and then they beat ULL.
And K-State right before that,
too. I do remember that. They lose the heartbreaker versus K-State. But you beat ULL, who's been really good this year. You beat USF. You dominate UAB. You dominate Rice. You dominate North Texas. You dominate Charlotte. You dominate Temple. You kill Navy by 35. I mean, you hope they salute them. I mean, Navy took it. I hope they salute them.
On senior day too was crazy.
Oh my gosh, that's awful. But yeah, senior day for Tulane. The freshman Darian Mensah. I love Memphis. I'll always have, but I gotta get it Tulane here.
Yeah, I mean, I need to catch up, so I have to go Memphis.
That's fair.
But I do like Memphis a lot. They're not like this horrible, terrible, unwatchable Southern Miss team or something. I mean, they're 9-2. They're not going to make the conference championship because Tulane and Army are both undefeated in the conference.
Yeah,
but I think this is going to be a close game. Honestly, Memphis does have a very good run defense, and Tulane's a very run heavy team. I think they have over 200 rushing yards a game. It's what they like to do. So I don't think it's not heavy one way or the other, I think. This next game, kind of similar.
Yeah.
Another rivalry in South Carolina. It's South Carolina playing Clemson. I have to go Clemson again. I got to make up some ground here. But this isn't... The main thing I think that I have to really rely on is the turnovers for South Carolina. It's about 2 a game. It's really a combination of Sellers will make a mistake in the pass game, or they'll have some untimely fumble or something like that. That has cost them in the past. But I think SC is going to run the ball first anyway. That's what they're going to want to do with Sellers or with Rocket Sanders. Clemson's defense is very questionable, run defense, but it's kind of the same story for Clemson. I think they need to establish a run first. That's what we saw Missouri do when they played South Carolina, and they were able to hang in there for a lot of that game till the very end, and then their defense kind of sold.
Yeah.
But Phil Maffa is a very underrated running back, I think, for Clemson. They just need to really establish that and not give up some big plays that they like to do. Louisville kind of cooked them. They also ran over them. So you can't have that happen again here in an in-state rivalry like this. Yeah.
I think this is gonna be a really good game. This is probably the game I'm gonna watch in the 11 a.m. stretch. I think there's other games there's also there's a big game, Michigan versus OSU. But really looking at the rest of these games, I mean, it's gonna go back and forth. I have South Carolina here. Gabe kind of Rocket Sanders is a dog. One of the better running backs in the league in the country. Lenore Sellers has been really, really good this year. They have done a really good job of limiting turnovers. A really big I picked them is Clemson has not won big games this year. We all saw what happened versus Georgia. Ugh. And of course Louisville, which they haven't really been good to finish the year. But going to Clemson, they were ranked. I mean, I gotta give them some sort of credit, and that's really the best two teams they've played. They're coming off a game off the Citadel. Hope they saluted them too because they whooped them by 44. But I mean, South Carolina in their own right, they're coming off a game off Rowford, but they beat Missouri, they beat Vanderbilt, they dominated Texas A&M, dominated Oklahoma, and right now they're on a current 5-game win streak where Clemson's going up and down. And South Carolina has a really good shot at the SEC championship now since people are slowly losing, and this can just add to the resume just in case they win or they just fall short and they're on the outside looking in. They have really good ranked win to show that hey, we got this. And I think this is going to happen. I love Clay. Cade Klubnik has been really, really good this year. Been one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. Phil Maffa is a dog in itself, but I think there's something about SEC play that just gets me wiggling something in my pants, and I'm just gotta rely on it, and just gonna keep on going. As not gonna stop, I'm gonna say pause and keep on going. This next game here, of course, has a lot of implication. It's Big 12. We touched a little bit on it earlier, said something about it, but it's Kansas State versus Iowa State. So Kansas State is not a bad team. I just get that out the way. I think they're just really inconsistent and with their play, and it's just they can tend to be a little stupid, be a little bad. And I don't think we're gonna get that versus Iowa State, but Iowa State is just they've been really good this year, and you gotta ride the hot hand off Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, Carson Hansen, Rocco Bett has been really solid this past few years. And of course you got Kansas State, DJ Giddens, Avery Johnson hasn't looked terrible. And then you got Dylan Edwards backing him up, Jace Brown. But I think Iowa State has just too many weapons for Kansas State's like defenders has had it. Their pass defense hasn't been the best all year. They're probably giving up. They're 9th in the country and giving up passing yards. The big thing with Iowa State, they're 100th and giving rushing yards up. So it's just gonna be it's a one-sided both ways. But they're also 3rd in the country when it comes to passing yards. And it's just ultimately you gotta ride this hot hand of Iowa State. They're coming off a big win versus Utah, a big win versus Cincinnati. But before that, they also have 2 lost games in their own right. They lost 1-point loss versus Texas Tech that ended their undefeated streak. and of course they got whooped by Kansas. I mean, and they're both teams have their bad moments. Kansas State getting whooped by BYU, getting whooped by Houston. That's bad in its own right. Honestly, that's awful. And of course, getting whooped by Arizona State. But I'm gonna take Iowa State in a very close matchup.
Yeah, I'll take Kansas State. I don't think Iowa State's looked perfect as of late. Even the Utah game was pretty close. And then the Cincinnati game, I believe they gave up 287 rushing yards to Cincinnati. I don't even know who they're. Oh yeah, Corey Kiner.
Yes.
LSU legend right there.
Okay.
Nice. So 287 rushing yards to Cincinnati. Not ideal. Kansas State averages about 210 a game rushing. And you said Iowa State's rush defense isn't great. I think it's really been turnovers for Iowa State lately, some untimely situations, especially against Texas Tech for sure. We kind of covered that game. I believe that was our last episode, actually. From Rocco Becht, really, sometimes that can happen. Can have some untimely interceptions. The same for Avery Johnson for Kansas State. He has to just take care of the ball, I think. Obviously, lean on the running game. I think they're going to get their average in this game and more. It's just to be able to stop them on defense, because I think if they get their rushing average, this should be a win for them. Just really got to take care of the football. You can lean into the play action game, obviously. When you're a run first team, that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, and then I'm going to bring us this next game here. It's first game that's happened since 2011. I've been really excited for this matchup all year. It's Texas going to Texas A&M. Who did I pick here? Oh yeah. I'm going to take Texas in this game. This could be a really big trap game for Texas. Texas currently only ranked game they played so far was against Georgia, and we all saw how that went. And Michigan too. I forgot Michigan was ranked at that time as well. But I mean, we also had Michigan turned out in its own right, and of course and then other team they played with Vanderbilt. I mean, it definitely could be a trap game for Texas. You go into Kyle Field. It's at what? It's at 6:30. It's a night game at Kyle Field. That's scary in its own right. Notre Dame learned that the hard way, but they escaped. But Texas A&M is coming off a really rough week versus Auburn. And then of course we also have in the South Carolina game. But also we also see how they done versus teams like LSU, how they dominated Missouri in all aspects of the game. I mean, it's going to be a close one. I think Texas is barely going to have it. I think Quinn Ewers is going to play really good this game. The running back duo, Jaden Blue and Quavion Wesner, is going to be dominant. But on Texas A&M side, you have to not turn over the ball. Marcel Reed does have only 3 interceptions of the year, but it's also in, 5 games? So it's not that great when you look at the aspect of it. Le'Veon Moss has looked really good. Le'Veon Bell has looked really good. Amari Daniels is good. It's gonna be a lot closer game than people think, but I'm gonna take Texas in a pretty much a closer game.
Yeah, I kind of feel all the same things. I will take Texas here. Can't root for Texas A&M.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm probably never will, to be honest. I don't know if it's ever happened. I also feel like we picked them in a game earlier this year. Now that I think about it, I don't have to scroll through that later. The defense for Texas A&M has really fallen off, I think, recently for sure. I like the Texas pass game to really cook in this game. Ewers does do some risky throws, and the O-line, it's kind of what lost in the Georgia game. They couldn't block. Will they be able to block this game? I mean, that's kind of the question. Texas A&M does have a good front. And Jadon Blue will have a legacy game, I think. We saw what Jarquez Hunter did last week. So I do think Texas takes it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Texas A&M does upset them.
Yeah, I agree. And then we're going to do a little LSU segment here. I don't really have much to say. We're playing Oklahoma this week. First time playing them in a pretty good minute. I hope we don't lose. I really like to finish 8-4 than 7-5. I feel like 7-5 is really bad taste in my mouth. 8-4 just sounds better in its own right. I mean, the big thing we have to do is stop the run, which we've stuck at all year, so I don't really know. What weeks? Dog. His little brother just committed the third of the weeks. Just committed to us. Oh no. Oh, we good. Okay, we good. Brandon Swenson, of course, a dog. And of course, I hate Major Burns, and I hate whatever the other guy's name is. I can't even think of his name. Sage Ryan. Stupid, couldn't think of his name for a second there. Of course, Jackson Arnold's been good rushing the ball all year. Javante Barnes is a dog. But they're coming off a really big win versus Alabama, and they want to try to carry the momentum. But it's in Death Valley at 6:00. Even though that hasn't scared a lot of people recently. Looking at you, Alabama. I will gladly take us in Death Valley over anything. Especially at night, honestly. All the drunk people.
Yeah. No, I'm just... Jackson Arnold having the rushing performance he did last week kind of scares me.
Yeah.
But we did... Well, Pavia was injured a little bit, but we didn't allow too much rushing there. So that's a good sign. I hope it's not a close game. I don't expect it to be. I'm going to be focused on the other games of this weekend, hopefully. I'd rather watch the Texas A&M game, to be honest.
But yeah, I agree. And we're just going to go over to NFL pick'ems as our final segment of the day. We're keeping this really brief for y'all because I know y'all have Thanksgiving to do, and y'all probably much rather be y'all's family than listen to us. I don't blame y'all. I do like yapping, but I don't blame you. So we're gonna start off with Thanksgiving games. All three of these suck. I mean, the Giants Cowboys always looked like they were gonna have a decent game, but I mean, now it's Cooper Rush versus Tommy DeVito. If not, it's Cooper Rush versus Drew Lock. We're just gonna stop there. But yeah, Bears at Lions.
I will be taking my nap in this time.
Yeah, I'm gonna start off here. Bears at Lions. It should be the good game. Probably the best game out of the three, honestly. The games aren't terrible, but I mean, I think the best game. I'm gonna take the Lions, obviously, because I mean they're the Lions, and you're playing the Bears, and the Lions' defense is better than the Bears, and I think at that, leave it at that. Call it. Move on. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Lions should win this game pretty easily. I think the Bears' rush defense is pretty bad. This will be a Montgomery and Gibbs game, I think. Caleb is coming off a very good game. He had a very good game against the Vikings. But
I mean, it could happen again, though.
Yeah, I don't see it.
The Lions' rush defense is... the Lions' pass rush defense is not good. It's awful, matter of fact.
But the O-line's so bad for the Bears.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be a testament of terrible versus terrible. I'm actually kind of ready to see it. So Giants at Cowboys. I have a little note side here that says neither ? Because I don't want to watch either of the games, or I don't really want to pick either of the games. But Cowboys coming off, I guess, the win they had. I'm gonna pick the Cowboys, and I think it's just best to do. I'm not really gonna say much about it.
No, yeah, Cowboys. We can move on.
Yeah. All right. Good answer. And then here we go for the final one of the night. It should be a really good game. It's the Dolphins at the Packers. I believe Gabe picked the Packers here, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna pick the Dolphins actually. The fin up. They looked really good since Tua came back, and I'm I'm a big Tua fan. Always have been. Always will. Actually, have been recently. Always will be. Always been a believer in him. Besides when he torched LSU a lot of times. Besides 2019, and then of course Packers is on and off as well in its own right. But I'm gonna take the Dolphins here in a closer game.
Yeah, I do like what I'm seeing from the Dolphins offense recently. It's kind of coming back into shape. Obviously, when you have Tua and not Tyler Huntley, that's what's going to happen. But the Packers offense is coming off a dominant performance. It's a banged up Niners defense, but I don't think the Dolphins defense is that much better than a banged up Niners defense, to be honest. Jordan Love did not have a pick last week, so that's good. Somebody somewhere is clapping for that. But it was really because of Josh Jacobs carrying this game, had 3 touchdowns. I think we'll carry that over to this week. And then Packers defense loves to get takeaways. I think that could happen again, even though Tua has been very good since he's been back about limiting the turnovers. I think it could happen because that's just how good the Packers defense is.
Oh,
and I'll take us into the Black Friday game because there's not a lot to say really.
I hate Jordan Love.
The Raiders have Aiden O'Connell starting. That's it.
I like the
Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs.
I would like to point out last year when Aiden O'Connell started versus the Chiefs, they won. I like to point that out. This is not happening again. Okay, it's kicking the Chiefs.
Yeah, no.
Easily. It's not. I don't think it's gonna be close. I think Patrick Mahomes might throw for 400 yards this game. They might just open the playbook, just have fun, and just troll the Raiders because they always do. And then we'll take it to the next game here. Again, of course, every single week. We're not going through every single game. I mean, if you want to, we can. I don't want to myself. But next game here, we have Chargers at Falcons. So I hate the Falcons. I'm not gonna show any bias in any of my picks as much as I can. But I'm gonna take the Chargers, even with J.K. Dobbins might be questionable for next week. Falcons has been on and off a lot, and I think the control the Chargers will have on the game, and just how bad the Falcons' defensive line as a whole is bad. So I will take the Chargers.
Yeah, the Falcons' defense is really falling off. I think in the secondary, really, they were getting cooked a lot earlier in the year, but now as a whole, the defense is just falling apart. And then the offense recently, they weren't a bye this past week, but even recently for the offense hasn't been as good. The run game is really the key for both teams here. Bijan's having a great season. We don't know what Dobbins, he probably could be out this game. The Chargers really struggled to stop the Ravens' run game. Bijan could go off, but I just trust Justin Herbert to really cook up this Falcons defense. They gave up like 40-something to the Broncos, so I think Justin Herbert's going to have a big day.
Yeah, I agree.
This next game, I'll take us into the Steelers and Bengals, a good old AFC North game. This is going to be a good one. Hopefully we get what we got against the Browns. Or not snow, but like a close game. The Steelers offense kind of struggled last week. Could have been the conditions, all of that. But they stopped up the run. The Browns did. The Bengals are not going to do that. They just aren't. It's going to get ugly. Trey Hendrickson's haven't been having a great year. I liked what I saw from Myles Garrett tearing up the Steelers O-line. Their tackles are a little bit suspect. Their elite part of their line is their inside interior, where the Bengals don't really have a presence. I don't know if Trey Hendrickson can take over a game like Myles Garrett can. So I think the pass game could have some success against the bad Bengals secondary. But the Bengals are desperate, and the offense is hot. And we saw what they did against the Chargers, almost leading the back end of that game, even when the defense was bad. And the Steelers defense kind of give up some stuff to the Browns, so I could see the Bengals tearing it up and actually upsetting and winning this game.
Did you pick your Steelers or Bengals?
I'd take Bengals.
Okay. Sorry, I zoned out right there. I'm also going to take the Bengals for a different reason of you. So, every single year there's always a small Mike Tomlin trap games. Last week it was the Steelers. I actually called that one, and I ended up picking the Steelers just because I really thought they were gonna pull it out, because I thought this game was gonna be the trap game, and this game is still the trap game. Bengals offense is so hot right now. They're they're number one offense in the league. From for these number one passing offense, like the 22nd run offense. Joe Burrow's gonna have a day. Every receiver's gonna have a day. Because I don't think the Steelers cornerbacks are the best. I like Joey Porter. I like their safeties, but ultimately, you're playing a completely different beast. When you go from Jameis to Joe Burrow, Jameis is a gunslinger. Joe Burrow will methodically kill you. I mean, it's plain and simple. I'm going to the Bengals, and I'm going to lead in this next game here. I don't know why I always do this myself. I like talking about the Cardinals, but I don't like picking the Cardinals. I'm gonna pick the Vikings, and so Cardinals going at Vikings. I'm gonna pick the Vikings in this one myself, and even though the Cardinals haven't been bad this year, their defense is really not that great right now, and it's really, really, really bad, and it happens. They're bad on paper. They're bad how they play, but they're really surprising. They're surprising a lot of people this year, and I hope they can continue on this track after this game. It's been a rough track game for them. But I'm going to take the Vikings in this game in a close one.
Yeah, I think the Vikings haven't looked perfect as of late either, but I would trust them more. The Cardinals did not. They actually gave me a really bad performance this past week against the Seahawks. So that kind of, I knew their defense was bad, but it was really the offense that didn't play that well. That they had 6 points, I believe, against the Seahawks. So I probably would have taken the Cardinals had I not just watched what I watched up in Seattle. I will take the Vikings here. It could be close though. I believe that.
And then before Gabe goes on his little fun time, I'm gonna pick the man. It's Titans at Commanders. All I have for a note here is, oh Lord, and pick the Commanders, of course, because I don't know. This actually might be a lot closer of a game than I think, but I'm gonna pick the Commanders in a close one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take a nonpartisan approach. This is gonna be a get right game, I think, for the Commanders. Open the offense up a little bit. I think Jaden could run like crazy. We do have some issues with mobile quarterbacks sometimes. Pollard, I think, would also have a big day though for us. The Commies' run defense is pretty not good, I would say. That's how I would describe it. The pass game for us actually has been pretty good lately. Kind of something no one wants to talk about. I don't really want to talk about it because I don't know how much stock I want to put into it. But I think we have to see if it's going to actually continue. Obviously, the Commanders' pass defense is not very good, especially after last week. Didn't see a whole lot that I liked against the Cowboys. And I'm worried about our turnovers. I think they could get out of hand. The Commanders could run it up. It's at FedEx Field, or whatever they call it. I don't think it's FedEx Field anymore. I think this could get out of hand. Or no. This could be the Commanders. Shouldn't be that close.
Yeah. And then, of course, the 325 games just suck. You got the Colts at Packers skip. Seahawks at Jets. Joe, I hope Jets get whooped. I hate them now. Bucks at Panthers. It could be a topical game. Of course, but you're gonna see all those picks on Instagram. But here is where I can have fun. Is Rams at the Saints. I really missed watching the Saints last week as they're coming off really two good games. Going into their bye week since we got the Riz God, the Rizzy man, Dan Rizzy. Love that guy. He's definitely brought a different aspect to the Saints that we haven't had all year. Like we barely beat Atlanta at home by 3. Shout out Younghoe Koo for absolute losing the games. And we play Cleveland, beat them by 21. We look like our team we had the first 2 weeks. Chris Olave could be back. I just saw a report on that. We don't know if he's going to be back for sure. I know he's still going to be out, unfortunately. I miss him already. But you got Alvin Kamara. MVS looked like looked really good really good to start off his time as a Saint. But the big thing we have to stop here as our defense, as of course we don't have the best pass defense, is the pass. I mean, it's plain and simple. We should, if I'm not Paul Stebo is still out, but we get Alontae Taylor back. We still got Alontae Taylor. We still got the Honey Badger. But really outside, they got Will Harris, who's not terrible. You got Jordan Howden. We're going to really switch out that cornerback 2-ish role because Alontae's our slot corner. And we're really switching out. He's probably going to be wide receiver. He's probably going to be a Cooper Kupp all day. But you really rely on Will Harris and Ugo Mandy to stop Puka. It's not going to be the greatest in the world to watch, but we should get it done. And our run defense has looked really good these past 2 weeks, and it should look decent again. Kyron Williams gonna get his yards like he did last year. Might get thrown a touchdown or two. But I think if our offense can keep up with their offense, we should win. I'm gonna make the Saints because I'm gonna show bias on this one. So screw you, I guess. But I'm gonna make the Saints.
Yeah. Now this next game,
Yeah.
Eagles Ravens. Yeah. Now this is football right here. These are two actually good, competent teams. Saquon, Henry. The run defenses are going to be key here. The Ravens did shut down the Chargers' run game for the most part, but it's the Eagles' O-line. It's Saquon. I think both running backs are going to get theirs in this game. I trust the Ravens' defense a little bit more, especially run defense-wise. But the secondary definitely goes Eagles advantage for sure. They're hot. They're getting much better since the bye. Really, I think it was a momentum change really for their defense. The Ravens secondary is still not good. There's less weapons for the Ravens in the pass game. I think AJ and Devonta for the Eagles are going to feast. I think this is going to be a great game, but I'm going to take the Ravens.
Yeah, I kind of want to make you just redo the graphic just so I can pick the Eagles. But I'm also going to pick the Ravens.
I'm doing Eagles.
You're Eagles?
You're going Eagles.
I'm going Ravens. I'm going to stay by my pick. Stay by my MVP pick. MVP. Right now, mid-season MVP. This can be a great game. I think Eagles is really the more complete team all around. We haven't seen that all year, honestly. Eagles look like the most complete team in the league, probably outside the Bills and Chiefs. But I'm gonna pick Ravens by maybe like 3 points. Justin Tucker might come back to life and get 3 points. And I'm just gonna lead us to this next game here: Niners at Bills. The Niners should get Brock Purdy back. Brock Purdy says he's been limited today for Tuesday's practice and Monday's practice, but he's gonna be full on Wednesday from what I heard. They need him back. God, watching Brandon Allen I didn't know who it was until literally last week. Watch him play whatever he played. I don't know if it was quarterback or not. I don't know anymore. I kind of just go with it. But I'm gonna pick the Bills. Again, a really close game. Should be a really good game. Great. It's a great, amazing 305, 325, and of course our 7 o'clock game for Sunday Night Football. But yeah, who do you have?
Niners, Bills. Wow, this should be a great game, but it isn't.
Wow.
If even if Purdy's back, I just don't think it's really going to be close. Their defense hasn't looked good either. I'm going to take the Bills here. Just haven't liked what I've seen from the Niners. The Bills are on a roll right now. There's a very underrated secondary the Bills have, too. Some guys you might not really know. Christian Benford, Teron Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily household names, but they're playing very well this year. And I believe, is Matt Milano back?
He is back.
He might already be back. I don't know.
He is back. I did see that. I also did see that. That's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Bills.
Yeah. I love watching Matt Milano, so I'm really thrilled he's back. And then of course for our last game, and of course the last game of our segment is Browns at Broncos. There's not much we talk about. Browns had their fun versus Steelers. They are not gonna have that fun versus that Broncos defense. Bro Nix should get what he wants again. Big thing about Broncos is who's gonna lead in their team for carries. Is it Devontae Williams? Is it going to be Andre Estime? Or is it going to be some unknown running back that I don't even know yet? But I'm going to take the Broncos as Cortland Sutton has looked like a great.
Same.
I want to say this. Cortland Sutton has looked like a top 25 wide receiver again. Is it crazy to say?
25. Okay.
It's great. I mean,
That's fine.
Look pretty good.
That's fine.
Maybe top 20. But yeah, that's going to end off our episode. I hope y'all have a great Thanksgiving. I'm eating a lot of food over at my household. I hope y'all have fun putting y'all's trees, spend time with your family. And we're slowly ending our semester off on our side, so hopefully we do good. And thank y'all for listening. Check out our socials. We're gonna be hopefully active more. Like, subscribe, share, blah blah, all that good stuff. And of course, thank y'all for listening.